6. And he shall dwell in that city until he stands before the congregation for judgment. And the word and is an addition by the translators. The word and is not there. This is not a conjunction. This is not two requirements. This is one or the other. Okay? He can stay in the city either until he comes before the congregation to be judged for his crime, or until the death of the one who is the high priest in those days. Then the slayer may return, come to his own city, and his own house to the city from which he fled. So once you make it inside the gates, there are two ways for you to ever get to come out. Number one, they have to convene a congregation assembly and have your trial. And to do that, we have to travel great distances, find witnesses at the scene of the crime, get jurors, for lack of a better term, bring everybody together. This is a long process. And in a lot of cases, it didn't happen. Because in a lot of cases, there were no witnesses. Or there was no way to be able to determine whether or not there was true guilt. The other way was that if, and this is a very interesting caveat, if the high priest were to die, then you were free to go back to your own city, and the avenger of blood could not get you because there was a transfer of the guard, and when the guard transferred from one high priest to another high priest, all the old crimes were wiped. So you were then free. Now, all of that stuff's fascinating to me, and there's some things there I want to show you in a moment. But then I discovered this, and this just blew my mind. Rabbinical tradition says that there was a woman assigned to the comfort and safety of all refugees in a city. And the woman that was assigned to the comfort and safety of the refugees was the mother of the high priest. And there was a reason for that. Because a refugee coming into the city had no friends. He had no neighbors. He had no relatives. In fact, the book of Numbers said the refugee cities were for both sojourners and strangers, both Jews and Gentiles. Can you imagine a Gentile, a Philistine, walking into a sanctuary city who has just killed a Jew? But he was off limits. He was the truly untouchable man in the entire land because he was inside the walls of the sanctuary city. With no friends, no neighbors, nobody's going to give him a job, nobody's going to hire him, nobody's giving him any money, nobody helps him out with food, nobody helps him out with clothes, but no one can touch him. He's truly untouchable. The reason why they assigned the high priest's mom to him was simple. Because how does this guy get to leave the city if the high priest dies? If the city gets mad enough at having a stinky beggar in their street that they can't get rid of, who can they get rid of that would ensure they get rid of this guy? The high priest. So the high priest's mama takes it upon herself to make sure that the refugee always has clean clothes, always has a little money in his pocket, and always has his belly filled, because she needs to keep the refugee from making the natives mad. Because her son, the high priest, is at threat of death if this refugee ticks anybody off. Because they can't touch him, but they can go get the leader. Now, I find that fascinating that God would go to such great lengths, because what God is doing is protecting the one that comes into the city, the refugee, by giving him grace where he doesn't deserve grace, and giving him mercy where he doesn't deserve mercy, because that's the heart of your Father. The true loving heartbeat of your Father is, I am a refuge in times of storm. When you're in trouble, I'm the place you need to go. I'm your sanctuary city.